Yeah, I mean, why not? Hit the gym. You got to train.
I mean...
It's been 3 weeks.
Okay.
What about your games?
Maybe.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
And this time we read Infestation 11.2.
What'd you think? Taylor's
so cool in this chapter.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was everything I was hoping for at the end of last chapter when she's like, I need some guys, do some lifting. You're like, she has a plan. Just like take control of her territory. You're like, Taylor always has good plans. And like Wildbow has trained us to anticipate Taylor's plans with glee.
Uh-huh.
And it pays off.
And it's always right. Her plan is so good. And yet she's always like, I could do this better next time. Like, I need a palette. I need to talk to guys about the vibe that I'm trying to project. Like,
well, that's why she's good at these plans.
Exactly.
Because she
always learns.
Yeah, she doesn't rest on her laurals.
Yeah.
But should I tell you what happens in this chapter?
Please do.
So she's driving in this truck with the guys, gender neutral, that she has acquired. I think there are 6 men and 2 women. They're driving like into her territory, kind of into the heart of it. And as she goes, she is collecting bugs. And she says that there have been 2 ways she's collected bugs in the past. Either she drives along and collects only the good ones, not too many, because she doesn't want to attract attention, or she stands in one spot and gathers them all to her in a fight. But now she's driving along and gathering them all to her because she wants to be noticed. And not only is she gathering a lot of them to her, she is also using a bunch of other ones to create arrows and the word supplies and sometimes pictures of food. Perhaps ineffectively, she's not sure about her art skills. She's waking up people who are sleeping. She is basically trying to get all the people in her territory towards her. And she gets like a couple hundred people and she stops in sort of an open area and she has her coil people start unloading supply boxes from the truck. And she says about a fifth of the people she tried to get in touch with are here, but that's enough. The word will spread. There's also a group of people that she thinks might be with the merchants. They're men who are armed, so also something she expected. She says she's taking a risk, and she doesn't necessarily expect it to pay off, but she needs it to, so she's going for it. Once she deems the crowd big enough, she gathers her bugs into a human shape at the back of the crowd and has it move through the crowd like it's a person walking towards the truck. And she's kind of hiding a little bit at this point, and everyone's watching this figure. And then she has it disperse and then gather again, and she kind of steps into the swarm, so she's hoping it looks like she turned herself into bugs and then coalesced again. Pretty cool.
It's the coolest.
It's so cool.
Thing.
And once she is in the swarm, she still uses it to make herself bigger, and she uses it to amplify her voice and give it this kind of weird, eerie echo. She introduces herself to the crowd. She looks at them. There are a lot of kids, a lot of people who look sick. There's also one person who doesn't look unwashed or wrinkled. Battery, the hero, is standing at the back of the crowd watching. Taylor expected that too. She announces that she's laying claim to the territory and that she's acting in these people's interests. These are her people, and she wants to look out for them. She's offering them protection, security, and reprieve, and supplies. These supplies are a gift, and there will be more. She says they have to abide by her rules, which are that no gangs will operate here, no merchants, no chosen, no selling drugs, no hurting people or stealing from them. And she threatens them basically, like, I have a million eyes to watch you. If you're in a gang, go somewhere else. If you're living in this territory and you help someone in a gang, you'll basically have 2 strikes. Like, if you violate my rules once, I will be watching you all the time. And if I catch you doing it again, I'll treat you as one of the enemy. So this whole thing, Battery's just listening. She's not engaging. Taylor says, these boxes, each one has food for 4 people, first aid supplies, water filters. Each family group can have one now. If you want more, come work for me. You don't have to do anything criminal, but I will give you showers and dry clothes and treats and all sorts of good things. So the crowd is like, kind of restless, but not reacting negatively. So Taylor invites them to come take the supplies. Takes them a few moments, but someone does, and they all seem really scared of her, understandably. And then people start getting their supplies. Taylor uses some flies to break up a little bit of a tugging match. Otherwise, people are pretty orderly about it. She's realizing, we're going to be short on supplies when someone draws a knife and starts waving it at people. And Taylor calls him out. He seems a little past the point of discussion and is kind of yelling at her, and she invites him to stab her. And he does. He stabs her in her costume. It doesn't break the spider silk, but it doesn't hit her armor either, so it does hurt, and she fights not to show it. And then he kind of tries to cut at her some more, but that doesn't even really hurt because he doesn't have any force behind the blows. And then she sends bugs at him that are laced with capsaicin, and he kind of falls down in agony. She steps on his foot with the knife, takes the knife, is thinking about using it, and Battery steps forward and says, I can't let you use that. And Taylor's like, wasn't gonna, and tosses it to her. And they have a discussion where Battery's like, that stunt you pulled at the ward's headquarters? And Taylor kind of lies that that's how they got the money for these supplies. And Battery's basically like, I don't agree with this. And Taylor's like, but you're gonna let me do it. And Battery's like, for now. But what's your agenda? And Taylor claims not to have one, which Battery doesn't believe. Battery says, your team is still set at low priority. Probably that will change at some point after what you pulled, but no one's changed it yet. I'm going by the book. I'm leaving you alone to do this. But the moment you cross a line, we'll come after you, no holds barred. And Taylor's like, yep, sure, that's what I would expect. And then Battery leaves. And the people who are kind of just watching that come up to take the rest of the supplies. And Taylor's like, they seem less afraid of me, which maybe was Battery's goal. A little unclear. She tells the people who didn't get a box today to stick around, and there are like 30 people. She says, anyone who's head of a family group, raise your hand. And she gives each of them 3 ladybugs that she flies into their hands. She says, hold on to these ladybugs. I will use them to find you, and I will give you a box with an extra gift for your patience. So she's climbing back in the truck with Coil's people, and there is a woman who's waiting, maybe 20 years old, seemed kind of nervous. She says to Taylor, to Skitter, you said you were protecting us. My brother needs help. I was going to go to Battery, but she disappeared so fast. And Taylor's like, okay, what do you need? And the woman says, the merchants took him. My kid brother, I want you to get him back, please. So we have a couple of immediate quests in our territory seizing video game.
Yes, yes.
We got to get boxes to these other people. We got to save this brother from the merchants. I think this brother is a member of the merchants.
Ooh.
Like, this
that
isn't
is a
like,
little bit harder.
This isn't like an 8-year-old who's been kidnapped. This is like a 16-year-old who has joined the merchants. And this girl/woman thinks that it's a bad idea and wants him back. But, like, it's not really a rescue operation, such as, like, an unbrainwashing operation.
I like that. That also feels like it's the kind of thing that Taylor's going to have her Dinah button or
It's
the
so
children
thematic.
button pushed in this moment, right?
Yeah.
And then she's going to be like, oh, this guy's older than Regent or whatever, right?
This guy's older than me.
Yeah. I found it very touching that Taylor as a 15-year-old comforting this woman who's a little bit older than her, but just Taylor is such in the position of being the new matriarch of this area.
It really is that thing where capes don't have any, like, particular, like, right or, like, deserve, like, they don't deserve these positions necessarily, but because of their powers, they get put in these high up positions.
It's like maybe since that scene in the mall where Taylor slaps Emma, like, I'm not sure we've had a sort of like bunch of civilians around capes moment, but this is the same thing, right? Like, Battery's there again, but now Taylor is here as Skitter, and people are,
well, it was also
deferring
like
to her.
Panacea in the med tent with, like, the nurse who was older than her, but, like, completely untrained. And Panacea,
exactly. Very similar to that nurse character. Okay, I like your theory about the brother.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's going to be messy. Taylor wants to be able to just rescue people, but it's going to be messy. It's a microcosm of the Dinah thing. Yeah. That aside, that's clearly something for, like, next chapter.
Yeah.
I love what she has done here.
Yeah.
She's so scary.
Right? This is such a good chapter for my favorite theme of Taylor's inside versus outside. Like, everything about it is amazing. She is so good at, as she says, projecting power and confidence as Skitter, right? All of the details, her, like, teleportation trick where she, like, walks from the back of the crowd and then emerges out of the trunk. It's so theatrical, right? She's got a knack for this. And then she thinks, well, if someone's thinking about how I did it, because they know that I can't just turn into bugs, it's going to be obvious. But it's like, that's
Taylor,
completely
it's not going to be obvious.
Missing the point. It is super scary and bad. Like, people, you know, don't know how stage magic is done, right? Like, you know.
Taylor really underestimates her own effect. And we saw this in the Lisa interlude, where she's like, oh yeah, the bugs around her that she just doesn't seem to be even aware of.
Yeah. She's using her bug voice, which is inherently terrifying.
She's making herself bigger with bugs, which is not something we've really seen much of before.
No, and she's doing it to mimic the way Gru's power works.
With the darkness.
The way that she has noticed he uses his power.
Right.
He uses his power to seem more threatening, and she's doing the same thing. She says, my bugs can devour a cow to the bone in 1.5 minutes.
And then the narration's like, I didn't know if that was true.
But it sounded good. It did sound good. She's awesome.
Yeah. I could see a slightly, you wouldn't have to change her much, a slightly different version of Taylor who's like, well, I can't say that. It's not true. And that's not her.
No.
It's so funny. When she was in the truck with the guy, she was like, I kind of wanted to make small talk, but I realized that would probably undermine my image. And I was like, yeah, she is making the correct image choice for her personality. She is not good at being like someone chummy who you want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
She can pull off scary in a way that she can't pull off like other kinds of charisma, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Villainy is actually perfect for her because as a hero, people will be like, I don't know, she's kind of weird and like scrawny and awkward. What is that? Like, I don't know that she could pull off like grand and like
That's
good.
That's true. Like, Welt is at the forefront of the heroes because he's likable. Right. Armsmaster has a likability problem, right? Like, maybe not to the public, but to anyone who talks to him.
But he's got the jawline, so it works for him with the public.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Taylor's like not good looking. Her power is inherently scary. She's not like charming. She's not personable in that way.
She feels tongue-tied. She doesn't like small talk.
Yeah.
Right?
So scary is absolutely the way to go for her.
And she's like very direct and smart in a way that is like threatening. Yeah. Right? Like
right, and she's not good at people in a way that would let her couch that. Like the way Lisa is smart but also good at manipulating people. Yeah. Taylor's not good at that.
Yeah. And that moment with the guys, both male and female guys, in the truck is so funny because she's describing us like, she starts with like, I really want to like reach out and make connections. This is sort of like the way that she was trying to make connections with Sundancer back in Arc 5, right? She's like, I'm going to connect with these people if I'm going to be working with them. She's like, but I got to focus on my image and, you know, whatever I conveyed, because I was their leader or a potentially dangerous villain, I had elbow room. Coil's employees had chosen to sit, cramped together, closer to the rear of the truck. It's such a funny image.
They're so scared.
Yeah, she's thinking like, so like, what would be a good icebreaker? Like, should we go all around and talk about our favorite sandwiches? And
she's also summoning bugs to her by the thousands. And these people in the truck are like, I just hope she doesn't kill me.
The bugs. I love it so much. She's finally doing full, like, biblical plague Taylor.
It's so satisfying. She says this isn't one of the times when her power is working, like, twice as fast and twice as, like, rangy as usual. But she still doesn't reach a limit. She says she keeps expecting to hit a limit of how many bugs she can control, but it doesn't happen.
Right. She can feel her power crackling as she processes all the data, but she is not.
She doesn't have a known limit. Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, I really want to see her push that farther.
Right.
Because, I mean, if she kept driving, she'd gather more and more bugs.
Right.
How many can she control?
Right.
Yeah.
It really invites a question of, like, what would it take?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I think she needs a higher rating. So, okay, we were saying she's really scary. She's got all these bugs. she is so well suited to supervillainy in an aesthetic sense.
Oh, yeah.
And in this chapter, we are seeing her live her dream of being able to use her power to help people.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Taylor wants to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, she also wants to be taking down supervillains. Like, that was kind of what she originally set out to do. But, like, improving the city, getting the people in this territory access to the supplies they need.
Yeah.
Getting rid of these gangs that are doing terrible things in this area. Like, this is her dream.
Yeah. This is doing it better than Coil, right? Right? Like, this is, I think the task that she is embarking on in this chapter is like, well, I have this territory. I get to call the shots. I'm going to do the Coil plan for my people, but I'm not going to kidnap any little girls, right? Like, that's kind of the quest that she's going out on. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Battery is asking her, like, what's your agenda? And it's true that Taylor does have one. Like, the reason she feels like she needs to do this right now is because she needs to impress Coil. And she needs to impress Coil quickly so she can get Dinah released. Stupid
but you're
plan.
right that she wants all of the
But she also wants it. Like, even if she didn't have that goal, like, maybe she'd be doing it more gradually if she didn't feel like she had to do it quickly and sort of in a big way. But this is what she wants.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything regrettable in this chapter.
No, and she's like, oh, there's so many kids and people look sick and everyone's like dirty and none of them have been able to wash themselves or their clothes. And like, she really wants to change that for people.
Yeah.
And I hope that some of the people end up working for her. Like, I feel like as they get used to her, they might be less just completely off-put by her image.
Well, we get a couple of beats with Taylor's people writ large in this chapter.
Yeah.
The first moment that I thought was really important is when she starts talking to them and says, this is my turf now, there's no reaction. And she was worried about jeers or boos.
Oh, yeah.
But she gets sort of silence, uncharacterized silence. And I guess I was wondering, like, what's the explanation for that? You know,
she has no idea how terrifying she is. She just put on this like bug light show.
Yeah.
And then she's like, this is my territory now. And the people are all like, are we going to be killed? Like, what is she going to do to us? They're awaiting their doom.
Yeah. So it's not like she has a particularly good or bad rep going into this. It's just she's inherently scary.
I mean, probably people have also heard of her as a villain. Probably they haven't heard much in detail. She hasn't been around that long. She hasn't done that much that's high profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think she would need anything more than what she did to bring them here in order to
and it
have
is
some cachet.
Right. Given the supplies are there as a carrot also. That
she is one hell of a stick.
Yeah.
One hell of a stick insect, you could say.
But then we get her saying, okay, guys, come get the supplies. And then there's another moment where nobody does anything.
Because she doesn't know how scary she is.
Exactly. And then finally a family of 4 comes and that kind of breaks it up. And there are some more, moments. She intervenes in a fight that's about to break out. She deals with that one guy and Battery steps in. But then there's that final beat where after Battery leaves, everybody warms up to her.
Yeah.
So, like, what did you make of that? Do you think that her reading on it is correct, or like, what do you think puts people at ease?
It's such a fascinating idea. I mean, it does make sense. Like, she just had a really level-headed discussion with a hero where they kind of hammered out some terms.
Yeah.
Not in huge detail, but her Battery's like, I'm not okay with this on the principle of it. And Taylor's like, okay, but you're gonna let me do this because I'm getting supplies from an independent source and I'm getting it to the people and I'm the lesser of so many evils. And Battery's like, yeah, okay. I mean, I'll let you do it as long as you don't cross a line.
Yeah.
And not only does that show Taylor as reasonable enough to treat with the official authorities, it also shows that the official authorities are watching, so they have that level of comfort. Like, the people have that level of comfort of like, okay, if anything really bad happens, it's not like we're just in the hands of this supervillain. But like, it makes Taylor unofficially approved.
Yeah.
Like, Battery is saying, for the record, I don't approve, but I'm gonna let you do it. That if Battery is okay with it, then they probably don't have anything to really worry about.
Yeah, I do think there are probably some people who were put at ease just by like, oh, okay, the tacit approval, right?
Yeah, Battery could have stopped her if it seemed like Taylor was going to be a real danger to the people. Battery presumably would have attacked her.
Right. And I also don't know enough about these people to know what the demographics are like, but I also feel like a likely position that people found themselves in if they noticed that Battery is there is, oh, well, will accepting supplies from Skitter
great
sort of
point.
make me somebody like all those people that the ABB rounded up, like somebody who's going to be a target.
Will
by
I
the
be
heroes.
outside the law in this way?
Right, so
and
it's-
Battery's basically saying, like, no, you can get supplies from her. This is fine.
Right. So it's not quite as much like reassured in the sense that like, oh, I'm looking for Battery's approval. It's more reassured in the sense that Battery's not going to come back and beat me up later. And like, certainly the Protectorate has way more of a reputation in the city than Skitter does. So I feel like there's also this dynamic of lots of people, like Taylor in her civilian identity, are maybe hero skeptical, right? We certainly know from the Canary thing that there's a lot of mixed feelings about heroes writ large. So like, if it's been 3 weeks and you still don't have power and water and the heroes are nowhere to be found and the heroes are not able to get you supplies because they keep getting attacked, and all that stuff. Once you shift your mind to be like, oh, I don't have to, cross some threshold I can never come back from. I can just take these supplies and be okay. And actually,
that's a good point.
So far, Skitter's gotten me 1 box of supplies more than... Battery and Miss Militia and everyone have.
That's a great point.
I don't know. I certainly think there's going to be a mix of attitudes towards Capes and to the Protectorate in the group overall.
And I'm sure one of the things Battery was thinking is, like, the heroes are spread so thin. Like, that's what that girl at the end said. It's like, I was going to talk to Battery, but she disappeared so fast. Like, the people in this crowd don't have access to the heroes, except for, I guess, this one moment where the hero is checking out their supervillain.
Yeah.
The Protectorate knows that they need more help. If Skitter can do a decent job of this for the time being, that could actually be really useful to the city. Like, having people like this who are willing to do this. I mean, the problem is, like, what if she becomes too entrenched? What if she starts doing terrible things? And that's why they do kind of have to keep an eye on it. But, like, they aren't willing to work. Like, Purity's gang has already offered, whatever they're called, the Pure, has already offered to work with them. And the Protectorate's like, no, that's a bad idea.
Right.
But, like, the Undersiders don't have anything like white supremacy going on.
Right.
They're trouble to the Protectorate, but they haven't done anything so heinous that they have to be just like crossed off the helper list.
Yeah.
So I think sort of
Asterisk
unofficial
taking over Shadowstalker, right? I feel like the shoe hasn't dropped in terms of how bad people perceive that to be. We know that Dragon thinks that it's a tangle for Taylor and a big bump for the Undersiders in terms of, their villainy.
Right. Yes. Yeah, Dragon thinks it is more complicated than just like, oh, they're being pure villains now. But like,
Right. I was wondering, I don't know that Battery is trying to help Taylor.
Yeah,
Taylor
maybe
thinks,
not.
Taylor
Battery might
thinks,
not be
is she
that
trying
strategic.
to help me?
Yeah.
And I don't think so. I think Battery, it's a little bit of like, cover your ass kind of behavior.
Definitely.
Like, look, I just want you to know the only reason I'm not writing you up is because technically I'm not supposed to, And I just feel like in the cockfight part of that conversation where like Battery comes up and is like, don't attack this guy. I really feel like Taylor does a good job of keeping the upper hand, right? Like she's the one who like in Battery's like, well, you know what? Like we'll be keeping a close eye on you. And Taylor's like, yeah, what, like whatever. I wouldn't expect
anything less. Like,
I just feel like Taylor maintains the she saves face throughout the whole encounter in a way that I feel like...
She does a really good job.
I feel like Battery is not trying to give Skitter face. Like, I don't think Battery is playing this role.
Yeah.
I do think, obviously, she is probably genuinely assessing that the line here is violence, which where she doesn't take the Shadow Stalker approach, right? She could have waited for Taylor to knife the guy and then said, great, now I get to beat up Skitter, right? She intervenes and makes it clear that this is her line.
Yeah.
And then Skitter talks fast about how she was never going to cross that line, Battery. No, don't worry about it.
I feel like, we don't necessarily know a lot about Battery at this point. I feel like what we've seen in this scene is reasonable competence. And
I agree with that.
Not going off the deep end the way Shadow Stalker would, which is a low bar. Yeah, but not all the heroes have cleared it, so I'm glad Battery did.
Maybe a little bit of a company woman, maybe a little bit like Miss Militia, sort of like, I'm going to just sort of follow the rules, not going to do any bold stuff. Yeah. Ask for permission, not for forgiveness type.
It felt very much like, this is where the Protectorate is right now, rather than this is who Battery is. I didn't feel like we got a huge glimpse into an individual personality there.
Yeah.
But except for the sort of, she's a person who's not seeking out violence. She's maybe going to make reasonable compromises for the benefit of the people of the city. That kind of.
And she'll probably report back. Taylor presents herself pretty explicitly when talking to Battery as a Robin Hood figure.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, I stole data. I sold it for money. I'm giving people these supplies. Right. Yeah. I'm clearly a lesser. She says lesser evil. Right.
And Battery suspects there's more going on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Protectorate, the PRT will suspect more as well, but.
That is the one part where Taylor lost me. Maybe she did it convincingly, but Battery's like, what? I know you have some scheme cooking. And Taylor sighs and then says, I don't know what to tell you. No agenda. It's come on. No, it's not believable. It's an absurd claim.
Except that she would be doing this even if she didn't have an agenda.
Yeah.
So I feel like it feels believable to her because it is sort of true.
Right, I guess no agenda in the sense that Battery means it, right? But yeah,
right.
It's
Taylor's agenda is actually not so much to save these people as to save this one kidnapped girl. So
I also wanted to ask you, does Battery do Taylor a favor by stopping her from knifing this guy?
I'm not sure. I feel like, Taylor hadn't decided what she was going to do. It would have made her more scary to her people if she did violence to this person beyond, the bugs and stepping on his hand and stuff. If she cut him with a knife, that's definitely going a big step further. She didn't need to be any scarier to her people. She's already really terrifying. But again, I don't think she knows how good a job she has done with that. So actually, maybe I've talked myself around to yes, she didn't need to seem any more brutal than she already did.
Yeah, that's basically my takeaway. That Battery did her a huge favor by keeping her from doing it. And I
don't know if I would go so far as huge.
I think that this is maybe a weakness with Taylor always underestimating herself. Mm-hmm. That she can lean too far in that direction of uncaring brutality. And I also think using your bugs to attack people, he's
way
screaming
cooler.
in pain, but people see someone coated in bugs going down screaming. They don't know, oh, she dipped them all in pepper spray, and that's what's hurting, right? Uh-huh. It's sort of an effect of her power.
Yeah.
And so, stepping on his hand is, personally violent. But I feel if Skitter pulls out a gun and shoots you in the leg, that's I feel like that would make her seem more violent in a mundane way.
That's true.
That either lets people associate her with, sometime they got mugged or other gang members they've seen in the city, or just kind of brings it down to earth in a very visceral way. Yeah. Whereas the more that she can lean into, she is an evil god of bugs.
Yeah.
I think the more her image will sustain this thank you, Benevolent Bug Queen.
Right.
Versus she's a really scary gang leader criminal who also is a scary bug queen.
I was thinking, she has to take the knife. She can't just throw it away because someone else will pick it up. What's she going to do? Put it in her costume? No. I feel like the only other good move would be to have the bugs fly away. Yeah. Engulf it in a swarm and have them remove it.
I will say,
so actually, Battery did her a favor.
Have the bugs stab him.
Yes!
That's maybe the best way.
Have the bugs stab him.
I do want to, and I don't know if this is unfair to Taylor, but I do want to point out that she actually moves a little bit within the chapter itself about how likely she was to do the knife thing.
Okay.
So when Battery says, I'm not going to let you use that knife, she says wasn't planning on it, and that's a lie. Mm-hmm. She'd considered stabbing the guy in the hand or somewhere where it wouldn't be terminal, but hadn't been certain on the route she would go. Right, so her immediate thought is like, well, I hadn't decided yet. Mm-hmm. And then she thinks later, Battery hadn't needed to step in right then. Probably. I had to admit I wasn't sure if I would have gone through with stabbing the guy. Mm-hmm. Where I feel like the way I read that is she's already backed off a little bit and been like, well, I wouldn't have. Like, she's no longer thinking, she's not doing the calculus of like, well, I might have done that or not. And like, would it have been good? Would it have been good or not? I feel like she's retreating from this idea that in the moment she was, if not already decided, very much leaning towards like, well, why not go a little bit further?
I feel like you're really, really splitting hairs there because she hadn't needed to step in right then. Probably. I had to admit I wasn't sure if I would have gone through with stabbing the guy. It feels more like, well, she could have just not said anything. Oh, right. She thought I was going to stab the guy. Like, all right. I don't know. I feel like in both cases, it's like,
you can tell me I'm being unfair.
I think you're being a little bit unfair, but it does sound like she hadn't decided if she was going to stab the guy or not.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
she would have made a call in the moment, and then she didn't have
It's true that there isn't a lot of her sadistic glee side in her narration against this guy. There's more the maintaining image, like the guy's on the ground screaming, covered in bugs, and she's just like standing there doing nothing, which is like so. And honestly, that's scarier than if she picks up the knife and stabs him. Right,
but
just having her
letting
standing there.
him stab her. Oh my God. So good. I love how much she is giving the impression of having powers she doesn't have.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all based in her powers. Like, the reason she can do this bug trick is because she has bug powers, but like she can't actually turn into bugs and fly apart and then coalesce into herself
again.
And
she has a much stronger costume than the
she has
cape
this spider suit.
Because of her
power.
Silk technology.
But she's not impermeable to weaponry. Like, that's the impression she's giving, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, whoever has computer access, which is probably not any of these people, will be going to parahumans online and being like, Skitter cannot be stabbed.
Oh, that's so true.
She can turn into bugs. The bugs speak for her.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess that kind of explains why the information environment on capes is so bad. Because if, like, all the capes show up to an Endbringer attack, but then there's, like, no power or computer access, it really is, like... I mean, I feel like this is... Skitter, like, turning herself into an urban legend.
Yes,
right? Like, there's all of these, her fake powers, the Robin Hood angle on it, right? Like, and her thing about, like, she's talking to a fifth of the people.
Than life.
Exactly. She's talking to a fifth of the people in her territory, but they are, like, everybody is going to know this story after today.
Oh, yeah. This is all everyone's going to be talking about today. They're like, look, I have 3 ladybugs.
Yeah. and her, like, she even has some good smack talk with the guy. She's like, hey, big guy. It's, are you just a bully, facing weak in the knees when you're facing someone that stands up to you? Pathetic, right? To goad him into stabbing her. It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm so impressed with how well she plays the image game, given how much she has said she's not good with people, and there are certain aspects of that she's really not good at.
Yeah.
She's so good at this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's right. It's shows of force, but also kind of the theatrics around it, right? Projecting. I mean, just like you were saying, leaning into the supervillain aesthetic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She's a natural.
Yeah. Yeah. And she also lets the image go a little bit in a way that probably is helpful when she's talking to the girl at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And the girl's like kind of freaking out and talking too fast. And Taylor says, without amplifying her voice with the bug, she's like, no, just calm down, breathe, tell me what's going on. Yeah. And that's such a good move. Like, she needed that then. You need to have the, like, scary image and the light touch.
My note about that was this is Taylor speaking in Skitter's body for a moment. I really liked that.
Yeah.
I also was wondering, would this girl have approached Skitter if she'd knifed the guy? I also feel like that's the kind of thing where it's like, you know, you don't know about these consequences, but...
Right.
Right.
Such a good point.
I really liked the nervous, overwhelmed girl with the, you know, presumed gang member little brother.
The brother who's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So we also learned in this chapter that Taylor's approach of like, I'm seizing this territory, I'm going to protect people, I'm going to get you supplies... is the one that all the Undersiders are taking.
I don't know if that's true.
Really? They talked about it and they kind of decided on this.
Our methods would vary wildly, but we were all making our bids for territory this morning. So I don't know what the methods are.
She says that after, I'm not the ABB, I'm not the merchants, the Empire, or the Chosen. I am acting in your interests. Our group had discussed this after talking to Coyle the other night. Maybe I'm making a leap. It sounded to me like all of the Undersiders had agreed, like, yeah, we're gonna come out sort of in the people's best interest is gonna be our approach. Yeah. I guess you're right, though. She does say their methods. I thought that meant more like the exact mechanisms by which they would do this. Well, you're right.
Yeah,
it's unclear.
I wasn't sure. I guess I feel like this is about more not announcing that she is allied with the other Undersiders or the Travelers or Coyle in any capacity. Mm-hmm. Though, if they're all kind of making the same speech, and like maybe that's all she means, right? It's like they're going to kind of hand out supplies and say, you're working for me now, or like, this is my territory now, and just... like anyone who thinks about it for 2 seconds will be like, oh, okay, they're all working together.
Right. If they're all claiming territory this morning, it'll become pretty obvious. Well, like you said, slowly, because all the information will have to pass sort of the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, but it is interesting. And I mean, yeah, she gets the aid from Coyle, which is good. I was wondering why she didn't get enough. Because this is only a fifth
fit in
of
one
the people.
Truck. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know if maybe that's just part of the logistics, like not having a pallet to keep them out of the flood water that just she didn't think through. But presumably she won't have any issue getting more aid from Coyle.
Let's hope not. I don't know.
It seemed like the people that Coyle sent were perfectly serviceable. The only other note was like Taylor's like, well, they're all wearing these hazmat suits. They kind of look like exterminators. And like, is Coyle being funny? Like, no, probably not. It just conceals their identity.
Yeah.
But maybe also protects them from bugs. You know, I don't know. Maybe Coyle soldiers were like, we don't want to go help out Skitter, but give me a hazmat suit.
They were like really terrified of her already. Yeah. I don't know that they've been exposed to her enough for that.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
We may never know if Herman Snipes is here because he's wearing a hazmat suit.
That's so sad. Well, he's probably still healing. He like broke his leg, right?
That's true.
It's only been like a few weeks.
That's true. Yeah, and Coyle's doctor is no panacea.
Right. Are the Travelers seizing their own territory, I wonder? Because they're living in Coyle's base, and they're not native to Brockton Bay.
That's a good point. I don't know that we have specific details.
Yeah.
I believe that we know that Coyle's plans for the Travelers are much the same as for the Undersiders. Okay. But we also know that they are staying in his base and that what's her name? Noelle is there.
Yeah.
So like maybe they're just holding the area around the base.
Right, which is pretty.
It's all of them. Like I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they have an option. Right. I think we don't have a specific set of details there. But it does sound like they're at the very least keeping the Travelers in the loop. But it sounds like they're coordinating with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't get too much about the big plan. She talks about she wants to hit a bullseye. You know, she's not confident this will succeed, but she really needs the payout. You know, I need to get underway with Coyle's agenda and I need to do it fast, right? So sort of just framing like any carelessness is because she needs to go fast, right? So what is the risk here, though? Like that it descends into chaos, that she gets beaten up by Battery or the merchants?
Yeah,
or
that she doesn't manage to convey an image of sufficient impressiveness.
Yeah.
That people kind of don't buy it. People don't listen to her. People don't abide her rules. She has to try to enforce more strongly.
And maybe it's also like again, skeptical a little bit that Coyle is going to be impressed by metrics, but like, it's sort of like, how many days did it take you to control your territory, right? Like, this is a pretty good first step.
And she's never tried to do anything like this before.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't know that she's a natural at it
Exactly.
until she's done it.
She's really good at darts, gonna hit that bullseye.
I love the thought that she puts into having the bugs draw out pictures.
Yes.
Even though she thinks she's bad at it. Like somewhere there is like a, pop art soup can made of bugs that hopefully someone will put a frame around and be like Skitter in 2011.
Oh my God. I did notice when the girl at the end who's holding the 3 ladybugs, like, kind of gets excited and, emotional and, like, squashes one by accident, and it ceases to exist to Taylor's power. She does not control dead bugs. Not only that she doesn't control them, because what could she tell them to do, but she doesn't sense them.
Yeah. That makes sense. The ladybugs thing, that was, like, the real new, other piece of new tech that she invents.
True.
Right, like...
And great choice with ladybugs. They're like the friendliest
Exactly.
bugs. She made a really good judgment call because you could see her being like, I put these 3 cockroaches in your hands, and people would be like, oh no.
Yeah, or like, oh, these 3 mosquitoes. Don't worry, they'll just be buzzing around you. Yeah, it's very, very precious.
It's good that she still retains her natural squeamishness about bugs because it helps her make the right judgment calls with this kind of thing.
That's a great point. I felt like this is like overbooked airlines, she's like, oh, there are no supplies, so I'm going to need volunteers. And then you get like a little bonus. I was wondering if the ladybugs are transferable. Are people going to start fighting over the ladybugs?
Right,
Taylor might be able to tell.
Capturing their own ladybugs. I mean, I think it's just this one day. So.
Right. So, but I was looking for loopholes.
Right.
Can we talk a little bit about Taylor's reign and whether you sort of what you think about her choices and becoming the ruler here? Right. So. She's like, starts out as like a libertarian queen, right? She's like, no taxes. I will not interfere with your lives if you don't interfere with mine. I don't want to take what you have, right? It's like, great. You guys can do whatever you want. There's a nice perk that bugs won't bother you if you live in my territory. And she does have some rules. Mm-hmm. The biggest of which is a war on drugs, right?
Yeah.
So full war on drugs. Yeah. No drugs here. At least no selling drugs. She doesn't seem to be saying that you can't do drugs, which is great. War on Nazis as well, which is great. And then you mentioned her 2-strike system, which is you can do whatever you want, but if you help the gangs, if you hurt people, if you steal, if you sell drugs, then I will start surveilling you. And if you do it again, you're gone. Mm-hmm. And she's also offering universal basic income and public employment for nice benefits, right?
Yeah,
like you come work for her and, she needs messengers, spokespeople, people to build, people to clean up, right? It's a pretty sweet deal. She does kind of say to Battery that when the police are capable of doing their jobs, she'll back off. So that was like a little bit hazier to me. And I'm not sure if that was just something she said in the moment. But yeah, I was just kind of like, I don't know. What do you think about the way she set things up?
I do think to the last bit, it does feel like a very temporary arrangement. Like this is getting people supplies to get them through this difficult time.
Yeah.
And presumably once things are rebuilt, she's going to need to take a different approach.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty solid system. It's a little bit unsubstantiated right now. Like she has the access to the supplies. She has some people to help her move them. She doesn't really have the spying ability to know what's going on everywhere in her territory because bugs can't hear speech that well. So she doesn't really have any local allies. Like the Undersiders are spread out. They're each controlling their own little neighborhoods. And I think the success of her plan will probably depend on how well that public employment aspect works out. Like, will she be able to get enough people on board and loyal to her quickly enough to have the resources she needs to control this territory?
Yeah.
Because she also can't beat up an entire gang on her own, probably. Like,
right.
Especially if she doesn't see it coming, she doesn't have her capsaicin bugs. Like, she is playing a really tricky game. Like, she's making herself seem bigger than she is, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we've seen a lot in the story before, right? Like, Bitch's whole deal was, I just want to be left alone. And, the reality of the situation that the other Undersiders were trying to explain is like, no, like, you're out there, which means people are going to want to come fight you to prove how tough you are. The tougher you seem, the bigger a target you are for people like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, this time that group of men backed off. That one attacked Taylor, and then she brought him down. Everyone else backed off. But they weren't expecting this.
Dealing with one guy who, like she said, he's probably high or definitely not being reasonable in this moment. Much harder to deal with a reasoned threat from a rival.
Coordinated threat. Yeah. I doubt that the merchants will let this area go easily. So there's probably going to be a big attack, and she's going to have to anticipate that. And like she said in the last chapter, the other Undersiders won't be able to reach her quickly.
Yeah.
So even though she can call for help, she's going to have to handle the threat on her own, basically.
Yeah. I'm very fascinated by her chosen supervillain leadership style here.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because, she is obviously leaning into her image, which is ruling through fear, but she's also showing off her lawful evil side in just being like, look, here, there's some simple rules, right? And if you follow them, and she's trying to just demonstrate this reasonableness, right? And to me, it's also this, sort of...
I think it's neutral good. I don't think it's lawful evil.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Taylor's vibe here is very much lawful. That
is her vibe. You're right.
She sets out. She basically sets out. Here are the rules, right? Yeah, and then maybe lawful neutral. This is a rabbit hole. This is trying to do the alignment grid is a rabbit hole. But to me, part of the exciting thing about this is it's like, oh, it's so exciting, a new leader, right? She is getting this reputation, and it's so fun to see her exercise power for good, which is something that we have not seen people with authority do much in the story, right?
True.
So even though she's a supervillain doing it, right? There's a part of me that's so satisfied, and it really is.
All these people will get all the things they need, and the gangs will go away, and there won't be drug trade.
And this is a common story. Again, it's reminding me of Deadwood. It also reminds me of a bit. This is a bit of a spoiler for one of the plot threads in season 3 of The Wire, but there's an experiment that the police allow a neighborhood to be a decriminalized zone for doing drugs. So it's basically if there is no violence, right? Mm-hmm. That's the hard line. If there's no violence, we're going to decriminalize this whole, war on drugs thing and see how that goes. And the season kind of explores that from the policy side, but also points out the obvious flaws of, including which, violence inevitably happens. And so, how do you deal with that? And, how do you implement the things? And how do you deal with the PR issues and all of that stuff? So to me, it's okay, so, when one of her people gets in a fight with another people, right, are they going to come to her kind of like a feudal lord and be well, decide which one of us gets the baby,
Or is she going to have to notice that it's happening?
Right.
And go intervene?
Right. And so, to me, it's so fun to see the start of it. And then I'm also kind of well, what are all of the problems where all of these, grays will come into the picture and she'll have to make tough choices. And, will she actually be able to be better when it's not so easy as this one showy display?
If there were a lot of grays in her neighborhood, it would be so well organized. Everyone would be helping each other. It would be perfect.
That's true. That's 100% true. Shout out to Gray, Animorphology co-host.
Oh, I did appreciate at the beginning, Taylor doesn't know cars. She knows even less about military vehicles. I feel you, Taylor. I know nothing about cars.
I'm glad. I don't know if Wildbow would want to write a Tom Clancy style description of a military vehicle, but I'm really glad that he is embracing this characterization for Taylor.
Anytime I have to write what kind of car someone has, I'm I don't know, a big one. I still find my own car sometimes by the license plate number.
Yeah. There was a nice beat in the chapter where Taylor blocks off the alleys that Danny might use to stumble into her territory. Right. So, there's definitely a part of her that just wouldn't want Danny to see this. She thinks, he'll probably know it's me if he ever sees me out as Skitter.
She can't blend those two lives, yeah.
One other detail I liked, there's an overly warm building with a large group of half-dressed people drenched in sweat. I'm just the poor, Zumba class that that is going on here when the bugs start invading and pointing arrows on the wall.
That because also Brockton Bay is in crisis. Are they doing like Bikram yoga? Like,
yeah. Hot yoga. Yeah, I mean, why not? Hit the gym. You gotta train.
I mean...
It's been 3 weeks.
Okay.
What about your games?
Maybe Zumba has resumed.
Rezumba.
Exactly.
I also, the downside that I wanted to talk about is I feel like by agreeing to live under Skitter, you are agreeing to have bugs on you. And sort of like this sort of total surveillance, right? She's doing a census. It's not quite total surveillance, but like, I do feel like there's an inherent loss of privacy that comes from being one of her citizens.
Right. I was going to say maybe not on you most of the time because she did promise the bugs won't bother you, but there will be observation.
Yeah.
And she implies a much higher level of observation than is actually happening.
Yeah.
Because she can't really hear or see what people are up to in any kind of detail, but they don't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty good. I love the punchy ending. I loved your prediction about it. Do you have any other predictions? Do you want to hear the first sentence?
I mean, I think Taylor's going to get in over her head with this whole merchants thing really quickly.
Yeah.
Especially because the brother is not going to be captive in the way she thinks.
Well, I was wondering, so what do you think will happen? Like, what's the scope of the arc? Do you have any thoughts? We're like 2 chapters in. We have this new plot thread being introduced.
I don't think the arc is going to be just her getting supplies to people and then her going up against the merchants with this kid. Like, I think there'll be some other ingredient. Like, maybe the merchants and the Chosen as she tries to take control of this territory.
Do you feel like it's a solo Taylor arc? Or do you think that...
I think it's a solo Taylor arc.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about she is kind of separate, but...
Yeah, I don't like that prediction, but I could see it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the other Undersiders come in at the end to, like, help her out, and I would love that. But I do think it could be kind of cool to have a solo Taylor arc.
Yeah.
I miss them, though.
I miss them, too. The first sentence... The first line of Infestation 11.3 is, I sat cross-legged in my chair on the...
on the second story of my lair.
Yeah, second floor, but that was the rest of the sentence. Well done.
Thank you, yes. I realize this isn't always about completing the sentence. Yeah, so she is going to be listening to this girl talk, presumably, and coming up with a plan.
Yeah.
And this girl is going to be terrified to be in her lair with the spiders and all the bugs in their terraria with, like, their shadows being cast huge.
She's
and then Taylor in this oversized leather chair. Whew. Yeah.
I can't wait. Just rereading this first sentence, I'm pretty sure the next chapter is a favorite of mine.
Ooh, okay, that's really fun.
I'm very excited to revisit it.
Me too. I mean, to visit it.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.